Hey, what's up everybody? Daniel here from Never Enough Tech. So yeah, I went ahead and got the JBL 9.1 soundbar system, which seemed to be the bar the community was itching for the most. Luckily, if this is not the bar for you, it's likely I'll get to your bar soon enough, so stay tuned. In this video, mainly I'll be unpacking and giving you an explanation of the JBL 9.1 bar hardware, system highlights, and some of my initial impressions. As many of you know, my full reviews do take some time. Maybe give this video a like to get the next one out faster. Each one is like a little caffeine boost. The JBL Bar 9.1 can be yours for 1,000 George Washingtons at various retail stores. So well below the introductory price of other bars I've reviewed, which have been between $1,550 and $1,850 so far. First up, an array of the kinds of things you might forget to throw back in the box if you're returning this product, causing some gnarly manager to send you home to fetch a screw or something. Not that I'm speaking from experience. Second, we got our two surrounds. Let's get them out of the way. Third, we'll dig out the bar buried in the bottom of the box. Last, and definitely not least, if going by mass, our sub, and an empty box. Not much to see there. What we have before us are the little things you get to munch on before the dinner. The edamame of the soundbar unpacking meal. No other channel explains these things to you. We got two power cords, we have mounting hardware for the bar, and unlike LG and Samsung, who also give you the mount for free, JBL provides those few extra hardware pieces you'll need to, get the mount attached to the wall. Thank you JBL for saving us a trip to the hardware store. We have a high-speed HDMI cable, strongly guessing 2.0. For documentation, we got manuals, warranties. You get a 1-year standard warranty with this bar, and a measuring guide for your mount. Let's not forget we have our remote and 2 AAA batteries. All right, group photo. Now scurry along. So what do we got next? Well, it's our 300 watt sub weighing in at 24.5 pounds. I gotta say, of the soundbar systems where everything comes in one box, JBL might have the most handsome sub. Here we see the rear with a sizable air intake hole. Other than that, you have a button for pairing purposes and a power port. Perhaps the coolest looking part of any of the systems I've reviewed so far on this channel is under the JBL sub. Kinda too bad it's hidden. Looks cool, what can I say? It has a 10-inch driver, where 8 inches or smaller seems to be standard for these kit subs. It sits on 4 legs that lifts it from the floor. The leg bottoms have a rubbery coating, which gives it a nice, soft landing. Maybe I care too much for the landing. But these rubber tips also act as an absorbent, or at the very least it'll keep it from taking a walk. Otherwise, the sub is a monolithic medium-density fiberboard tower with nothing but a small JBL branding icon in the front. Okay, off you go, you stylish extra large chicken bucket. What's in here? Clearly the most diminutive surrounds I have reviewed so far, coming in at about 1.5 pounds each. So, not the size that counts, I hope. They're wrapped in a darkish gray plastic housing. It has speaker grills covering 3 of the 6 sides. Each surround is a 1.0.1 speaker with a forward and upward firing driver. One might get the impression the short end here has a speaker behind it. Nope, just for looks. Each driver has 30 watts of max power, so 60 watts max power for each surround. Each surround has one control, a power button. So who really wants to be turning the surrounds on and off? Maybe you want to save power, or maybe you want to stop your surrounds from annoying you with its stupid sound. So what's going on with this strange 4-pronged magnetic port? Well, these surrounds can live connected to the bar, that hasn't introduced itself yet, or apart, obviously. These surrounds, so says the internet, gives you about 10 hours of continuous play, and can be charged in 3 hours while connected to the bar. So JBL is being really cute here. They quite clearly want you to do the surround speaker shuffle, moving them back and forth between the bar and end tables, for the life of the product. There is zero doubt about how JBL thinks this should work, but JBL does offer an out to this shuffly existence by both providing a screw mounting hole and a micro USB port for charging. So you can mount these surrounds, getting them out of your way, and keep them plugged in if you want to use this system more traditionally. That being keeping the surrounds as surrounds. You'll want to place the surrounds with the long side facing you. There is not a driver on the short end. And also be careful to place the surround on the correct side. There is an R or L near the magnetic port to remind you. Alright, and last we have the soundbar. Always the MVP of the soundbar systems. Well, the bar is 400 watts of max power in an 8-pound package. Okay, so just about 1/3 the weight of the sub. It's just 2.5 inches tall, so fairly squatty, perhaps not obscuring too much of your TV. I gotta say, no bar is short enough to fit under the LG C-Series TVs, where the stand has the TV sitting so low. This bar is not as wide as those other bars I've been looking at. It's 34.8 inches wide without the surrounds, and just half an inch longer than the Q950T with the surrounds attached at 48.5 inches. If looking for complementary TV sizes, you are looking at TVs between 43 inches and 60 inches, perhaps considering whether the surrounds are attached or not. Some comments on the design. I'd say the front grille looks most similar to the SN11RG. The top has 2 grills on the ends of the bar supporting the upward firing speakers. The ends of the bar have exposed magnetic prongs. The bottom of the bar does have 2 rubber strips to keep the bar in place and dampen potential rattling. Let's talk speakers. Well, the JBL Bar 9.1 is quite clearly a 9 ear-level channel system. I mean, it so clearly states that in its name. So let's search for the 7 remaining ear-level channels on this rather short bar, as 2 are already accounted for on the surrounds. Well, we got a center left, center right, and you know, the thing. Well, maybe I'm bad at finding speakers or counting, but it seems we are 4 channels short of our 7. I suppose you can triple count the center left and center right to get our number, but I think that's cheating. So here's the deal. This is not a 9.1.4 system. This is a 5.1.4 system with 5 ear-level channels, 1 sub, and 4 upward firing speakers. I suppose JBL got cute and added the 4 at the end to the 5 to get that exciting number that competes with the emerging 9.x systems. Misleading to say the least. As such, this bar is actually much closer to the Sonos Arc than the Q950T in terms of channels, and maybe that should be the head-to-head if I get there. Anyway, so as that possibly disappointing revelation kicks in, let's dig more into the bar features. You have a nice physical rubber control strip with 4 controls: power, volume down, volume up, and input. The bar's LED display is rather standard and functional, giving you information about volume, input, and audio codecs. JBL made the brave decision to put the display where you can see it while sitting, Q950T, and allows the display to disappear after a few seconds, SN11RG. These are extremely obvious design choices. Why any soundbar maker would stray from this is beyond me. Looking at ports from left to right, you got power, USB, optical, Ethernet, eARC connection to the TV, and an HDMI pass-through. Let's spend a little time playing with the surrounds in the bar. They have a really nice, easy to assemble firm magnetic connection. Magnetic charging has its perks. The surrounds stay tight if the bar is lifted, a credit to the designers. Detach the surrounds by pulling them, not by pushing down or up. Your kids are going to love these. Keep in mind these surrounds are really designed to lay on tables right next to you. So if you don't have a good place to put these speakers, like end tables, you may want to consider this in your buying decision. So the remote. There is no app, so the remote kind of is extra important. Don't lose it. You got a power button, general volume control, and a mute button. You have quick toggles for your inputs, so TV, Bluetooth, and HDMI pass-through. And you have quick toggles to adjust levels for the sub, rear surround ear level channels, and the Atmos speakers, which I would really prefer they just said height or upward speakers. Turning up Atmos, which is not really a volume variable, just sounds dumb and misleading. Hey honey, I'm turning up Atmos now. You're a terrible person, I'm leaving you. That's kind of how I see that playing out. Alright, so the system highlights and notable misses. Let's start with the good stuff. Well, you got Dolby Atmos as well as DTS:X support. For device-to-bar streaming, you have Chromecast, AirPlay 2, and Bluetooth 4.2. These 3 technologies together make this a winner in this category amongst the 4 other bars I've reviewed. Any other bar at most had 2 of these technologies. Setting up was very easy, without a hitch, which is a big win. And so far in my limited testing, the surround and sub connections seem stable. Alright, the bad stuff. Music audio codec support is limited to MP3. High-res audio is not supported. I'll provide more information in my full review. You have 0 voice assistant support, which seems to be nearly standard on soundbar systems these days, especially those that are around $1,000 or up. I suppose this is no big deal for many and a sour point for the rest. You have virtually no EQ adjustment options. You have a smart sound on-off toggle that purportedly makes audio effects more lush if it's on. You can toggle this feature by holding the mute button for 3 seconds and then pressing the plus button. So you know, totally obvious. No multi-room audio or integrated content partners for music and podcasts. No native app support, so to establish a Wi-Fi connection, I recommend using Google Home. That will enable both Chromecast and AirPlay. Lots of interesting choices on the soundbar in terms of what they included and left out, though I want to leave a few insights for the full review. Keep your eyes out for that in the hopefully not too distant future. Anyway, if this video is for you, kindly do those things to make this video popular and get alerted when I publish new videos. Happy listening, catch you on the next one.